A leader of a pro-Trump organization is calling for the murder of Democratic governors for enforcing the lockdown measures for the coronavirus pandemic. Now, this is Coy Griffin, head of the Cowboys for Trump. That's the organization. They are publicly calling for Democratic governors to be killed for purportedly committing treason. In an interview with the Daily Beast Will Sommer, Griffin defended telling fellow activists at an anti-lockdown rally that the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. Yes, because, there's nothing like threatening to kill your political opponents for disagreeing with you on something. Freedom, right? Apparently that's freedom. Freedom. Okay, well, that's nice. So he said, you get to pick your poison. You either go before a firing squad or you get the end of the rope. I tell you what, partner, because he's a cowboy, as far as I'm concerned, there's not an option that's not on the table. How about locking you up for a mental issue, for threatening to kill people? Look, if you think murdering people for literally doing their jobs during a pandemic, which these governors are, for having a D next to their name, you're psychotic. There is something obviously wrong with you. You're not interested in freedom. No, you want to hurt people. That's your ideology. You can't wait to use your gun against anybody that disagrees with you. It's a fascist mindset. Thing is, right, state governors actually do have the power under the federalist system of government, the type of government that you say you agree with, right? States' rights. Oh, except when states' rights. See, what we mean by states' rights is the right to discriminate against black people when it comes to actually being able to, do emergency measures like enforcing physical distancing and wearing masks and doing a state lockdown. Well, we don't agree with that power. No, we don't agree with your rights under the 10th Amendment. We only agree as conservatives that you should have power to, make black people less than human or treat black people less than human. So, look, that's what they believe in, right? Again, disastrous. So, again, the federalist system allows them the right under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution to enforce lockdowns for the general welfare under an emergency situation. Well, a pandemic that has claimed the lives of over 100,000 or nearly 100,000 Americans is an emergency. But apparently not to the people who are running around cosplaying as freedom fighters. They don't care. All they care about is instituting their kind of authoritarian fascist ruling, part of which involves, of course, sending the poor out to die for the rich, especially since many of the poor that are dying of COVID-19, a lot of them are disproportionately black and brown people. So that's a problem. Now, if they were really concerned about government abuse and overreach, they would be with the protesters in Minnesota. They would be arm in arm. You know why? Because there was a police officer that literally murdered a black man for allegedly committing a nonviolent crime. This is George Floyd, right? Who, look, he was killed. He was suffocated when a police officer literally held a knee to his neck. No, that's a problem. That is literally the boot of tyrannical government right there. It's ridiculous. But since it doesn't affect you, oh no, you don't care. No, this guy's a total male Karen. He's probably angry that he can't go to his favorite Hooters and drink Natty Light with his fascist friends. No, this is a attempted right-wing authoritarian terrorism. That's the problem here. And of course, a large amount of the anti-lockdown protests, they're not about the pain regular people are feeling economically because of the lockdowns. No. Despite the fact that, of course, look, there are some. Okay, so there are two different groups, as I've mentioned before. So you have the people that are actually really hurting, right? But are supportive of the lockdowns because, of course, they don't want to spread coronavirus to everybody. And so a lot of people, look, they're navigating these ancient systems of for unemployment benefits. They've already spent their $1,200 check, if they're even available or eligible to be able to get one. And so they are hurting economically. You have food banks that have seen an increase of 40% for need. And they're not getting, these food banks are not getting enough food to be able to meet this demand. And so there are people hurting. These are different than the anti-lockdown protesters that are going around, with the rocket launcher or whatever bazooka strapped to their back and there's long guns claiming that they're fighting for freedom. You're not fighting for freedom at all. At all. But anyway, they're just looking for an excuse to gun down people that they don't like. And that's what it is. Now, Salmar also reports that the type of rhetoric Griffin is espousing was becoming more common among the rest of the protesters, despite the fact that lockdown restrictions are easing across the United States. On Sunday, anti-lockdown protesters in Frankfort, Kentucky, hung an effigy of Democratic Governor Andy Beshear from a tree outside of the state capitol. The effigy bore Beshear's face and a message, "Sic semper tyrannis," thus always to tyrants. In North Carolina, prominent anti-lockdown activist Adam Smith, we know that guy, posted a Facebook Live video saying he and other activists were willing to kill people over these restrictions. Well, here's the thing. If the restrictions are lifted, people are going to die. More than if we keep them in place and actually have the government do its job and support people while scientists work on a vaccine. That means, of course, $2,000 a month, UBI until this is over, rent and mortgage freezes, a complete moratorium on rent and mortgages. And look, these are simple things. And of course, guaranteed health care expanded to everybody. Those are the things that we should be doing, that we should have in place. And we don't, because unfortunately, this government does not care about people. It cares more about corporations and corporate donations. That's why we're in the political situation that we have. That's why we have freaking Joe Biden. That is the, presumptive Democratic nominee. That's ridiculous. No, we should have somebody who's an actual progressive. But unfortunately, we don't have it because we have a rigged political system that is rigged in favor of the wealthy against the rest of us. And that's why, of course, all this is related. That allows fascists like this guy to be able to go out there and preach to the masses like, hey, the government sucks. We should totally do things the fascist way. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrifying. This stuff is insane. And you know what? It actually defeats their own goals of reopening the United States safely. That's the other part of it that sucks. So luckily, though, I think most of the country has it figured out that, hey, look, we should wait for a vaccine. We should wait for a treatment. We shouldn't rush on opening it up. A lot of people are very concerned about opening it up, despite the fact that the news reports you have lots of people that have hit the beach over the weekend. And a lot of smaller places, a lot of small towns and villages and stuff, they're not taking this seriously. But in the major population centers where most people are, they are taking this seriously because they're seeing the effects of COVID-19 firsthand or secondhand. And so, I mean, that's where most of the people are. And where most of the people are, most of the population is, they're actually taking this seriously. And so at least they have that figured out. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.